Have had some great success recently. News 5 has told you about two tech startups thriving despite the pandemic, and both headquartered right here in Cleveland.
But just like in many other walks of life, our communities of color are left behind in the tech industry. In this News 5 original, Kevin Barry explains how there's a growing number of people trying to change that.
Long before the coronavirus, Parents in Motion was a company founded on two basic principles: rideshare and getting kids to school. It connected families with vetted drivers, essentially becoming an Uber for kids. It was something most parents and anybody with a rideshare app could understand. And still,
when we're explaining new concepts or concepts to people, they question it a lot more.
Parents in Motion co-founder Chanel Williams says those reactions were common.
Being a Black woman in technology, you literally have to pull every single string in your identity to relate it to someone, to just get to the main fact of why you're even there.
It was a barrier she and co-founder Charisma Curry just learned to deal with.
They'll say things like, "You thought of this," or as if you're incapable of whatever, because whatever biases, unconscious biases that they may have.
The problem is those interactions can keep tech company founders like Charisma and Chanel from getting the much needed money they need to build and grow their company that employees and local families rely on. They're not alone. Studies show since 2015, Black and Hispanic people who start a company have gotten less than 3% of all the money investors give to startup companies in the United States. JumpStart's Ron Stubblefield says that has a lot to do with white investors often connecting better with white entrepreneurs who have a similar background, network, and education.
And when you take these things together, that's why you see disproportionate underrepresentation.
Ron is the entrepreneur in residence at JumpStart, focused on helping companies navigate the potential pitfalls that make many startups fail. He's a graduate of a historically Black college and says explicitly mentoring startup founders or their employees of color can make a big difference when they try to break into an industry that often doesn't look like them.
There are individuals who happen to be in tech or African American Hispanic, but they tend to be the exception, not the norm.
Denise Williams knows the feeling.
We're often unheard.
After getting laid off from IBM in 2018, she started a consulting business, helping companies run by people of color address their technology needs.
I wanted to be able to help my community be able to build their solutions. So that's how Tech Diva was formed.
She's hoping that those companies succeeding will show other Black and brown founders what's possible for them too.
Reducing the barrier of entry allows others to get in and pull others up. There was nobody for me to look up to say, I could do this too, or I could learn programming, or to push me in that space.
Mentorship and representation are only part of the battle. They still don't directly address the fact that entrepreneurs of color tend to get significantly fewer investments than their white counterparts. And no money means no startup.
The narrative is shifting, and I think it's shifting in the right direction.
Tellian J. Thomas says part of that shifting is JumpStart's Focus Fund. It typically invests around $1 million in companies started by female entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs of color.
And so we need to have a dedicated resource where they can compete within the pool of their peers and not be competing against the majority white male tech entrepreneurs who get the lion's share of the funding.
She says, especially as the U.S. fights to climb out of the pandemic, that's how to make the economy recover in a way that lifts everyone up. Everybody agrees there's a lot of work to still be done, but while we're paying attention to the historical wrongs that many Americans have suffered for generations, Ron says this is a moment where we can all change what we think of ourselves and of others.
If people don't think they're capable of doing something, they probably won't try. Second, if others don't think someone else is capable, they won't invest.
In Cleveland, I'm Kevin Barry, News 5.
And News 5 is committed to helping you rebound during the pandemic. We'll be posting the information from this story and getting help for your business in the rebound section of our News 5 app and website. There you can find other resources to help you find work or pay your bills during the pandemic.
So if that shipping